the Eddington trailer. So this is a trailer for Ari Aster's new film, which is coming out this year, and it appears to be one of the very, very few films about lockdown, and possibly the first ever major film about lockdown. And that's that's not counting Contagion, which predicted lockdown before lockdown even happened, which is a great film. It's also not counting Locked Down with Anne Hathaway in it, which wasn't a major release. It's not counting Inside, the comedy special-y kind of candid documentary by Bo Burnham, which came out on Netflix kind of during the pandemic, because that's not a narrative feature. This, to me, feels like the first film about lockdown. And I was talking to my friend about it, and he said, I don't want to see a film about lockdown. And I was like, I kind of know what you mean, but what do you mean? Because like whenever the world or whatever go through kind of a seismic or traumatic event, it's depicted on film pretty quick, you know. Going back as far back as the World Wars, up to present day with the Iraq War and warfare, you know, we depict these things in film in order to process them and reflect, and kind of build an opinion on how we feel about that time, right? And yet we haven't done that with lockdown to any degree, really. It's such a strange time, and everyone wants to forget about it because it was kind of traumatic. Well, it wasn't kind of, it was in a lot of ways. Emotionally, a lot of people's mental health, but then also the public health crisis itself. But it was also all-encompassing, right? It was the entire world. So it's arguably bigger than anything since the World War. And yet, we haven't depicted this in film yet. Is it because it's too soon? It's 2025, it ended 2021, but I guess some people feel emotionally it ended 2022, so you could say we're 3 to 4 years after lockdown. Is that too soon? Well, if you think about an event like 9/11, I feel like there were films, whether for right or wrong, that came out about 9/11 within 4 or 5 years. I feel like this feels like a decent enough time to do it. So I said to my friend, like, I want this. Like, I think this has to happen at some point. We have to have a pandemic movie. And I just hope that when that happens, it comes from an auteur director who knows what they're doing and who has a point to make, and that it's not just some kind of genre-based occupation of that time. So like a horror in lockdown, which we've had even a few of them, and like the screen share one, I've forgotten what it was called. I want it to be like, yeah, like a it looks like this is exactly that. It looks like this is an angsty drama. It's got a brilliant cast: Austin Butler, Joaquin Phoenix. It looks like it's very politicized, which is an interesting approach, because I think personally I want to process lockdown emotionally, not politically. I think we're still processing lockdown politically, and it's that I kind of agree with my mate on that. That's not really something I care to spend much more time thinking about. But I trust Ari Aster. I think his films are very, very intellectual, and I love that. Even when they're genre movies, you know, Hereditary is like elevated horror, that awful phrase. Midsommar is one of the best kind of horror movies of the last couple of decades, despite the fact it's kind of sidestepping the genre deliberately with the way with its tone and its visuals. And Beau is Afraid was like such a hilarious 3-hour descent into absolute insanity, to the point where I actually ended up rejecting it by the end. But I think Ari Aster will have been happy with that. First hour I was laughing my head off, and the last hour I was truly traumatized. So needless to say, I trust Ari Aster in processing this topic. And like I said to my friend, I do think it needs to be done at some point. So given it's Ari Aster, why not now? So I'm excited about it.